In this video guide, I'm going to talk about how three-dimensional computer models can be used to communicate architectural and planning concepts to a lay or a professional audience. All the examples will be from my own consultancy, StudioCruz. We can start with illustration, and illustrations from three-dimensional computer models can be either cartoon style, they can be photorealistic, they can be colored according to the various elements, and in this particular example, which is a PDF file, they can also include rollovers, so that as the user or the presenter rolls over the image, a before and after shot is shown. PDF files are extremely versatile for email, but they can also be used successfully in a public presentation. This is another example of three-dimensional model being used to create a presentation, and the model and the renderings were created for Swenson Technology, which designed and installed the large photovoltaic arrays shown here. This was made from a SketchUp model, and in fact it was so persuasive that Plantronics doubled the size of the contract after seeing the initial renderings. All this is doing is giving a strong and accurate impression of the way that these installations will look after they're built. This is a series of images in a PDF file, this time for the Dole Company. This was developed for an architectural firm in Santa Cruz, showing various aspects of a proposed revision to the site with before and after views, made again from a SketchUp three-dimensional model. The next type of presentation based on the three-dimensional model is a linear animation. Linear because it goes from the start, an introduction, through the various details of, in this case, a piece of terrain, and finally comes to a conclusion, in this case an animation which was made for a court presentation showing a high voltage line going through the center of a proposed community. This is another linear animation, in this case used to demonstrate the details and use of a medical product. You can see here that it's much more analytical than the previous one. We have partially transparent views of mechanism. We have the locking mechanism here being shown animated in both a perspective and an orthogonal view, and we have previews of the way the device would be used in actual practice. The next type of three-dimensional model used for presentation is mixed interactive and linear, primarily interactive. This is a view of Central California in Google Earth, and a KMZ, a Google Earth file, has been overlaid on the default model. It includes a graphic as well as some three-dimensional models of windmills, which are made in SketchUp. SketchUp works very well with Google Earth, so that this can be used in a live context to demonstrate not only the location and the surrounding features, but also by switching on various graphic layers, we can add information to the Google Earth model. Here we have the protected ridge lines. We can see some of the topography here. We have the layer for Kitfox movements, which are protected so that it very graphically demonstrates the limits on development of this particular property, and we can zoom in and out while we're discussing and demonstrating the features of the property. The only downside of this is that it requires an internet connection to run. So a fairly fast internet connection is required if this is going to be used as a live demonstration tool.
Potter Drilling, located in Redwood City, California, is a technology company focused on lowering the cost and expanding the range of deep hard rock drilling. We're developing a non-contact drilling technology based on a process known as hydrothermal spallation, which has the potential.
So this is an example of a linear and interactive presentation. It's a Google Earth tour using SketchUp models inset into the Google Earth landscape. Graphics are overlaid on the terrain. models are inserted, you can add graphics to the screen, you can have commentary. There's a lot of interactivity available here. And although you can run from start to finish through this presentation, just as you could with a regular animation, you can also stop it at any point, look at the various models, discuss their relationship to the landscape. Again, if you're doing this in a live context, it does need a fairly fast and reliable internet connection. And finally, we come to what I consider the most interesting and versatile use of three-dimensional computer models in live presentation, and that is actually running them in the application where they were created. This is a program called Rhinoceros, generally used as an engineering modeling program. In this case, for a court case heard about 2010, I downloaded a USGS topological laser survey of the terrain and overlaid it with the USGS map for the relevant territory and used it to demonstrate the features of a property in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This is the original model. I can switch on a second layer here, which is a duplicate of that model with the surveyor's map overlaid, showing the boundaries of the properties. Then I can open up a third layer where the map is trimmed down to the relevant sections, and then finally a fourth layer where that trimmed map is made semi-transparent so that the contours of the properties can be seen underneath. And we can see the two means of access to the particular properties under dispute outlined here in red. This was shown live in court and it won the case for the plaintiff. Another program which is particularly suitable for live presentation is SketchUp. This is the SketchUp model for the Plantronics photovoltaic installation I showed earlier as a PDF file. And you can see that it includes a number of tabs which allow a semi-skilled operator to move through the scene from eye level to bird's eye view. But at the same time, this remains a fully interactive model. So at any point one can move around within it. One can zoom into particular parts that haven't been saved as a tab. One can hide or make visible various layers. And yet at the same time, at any point, we can start to move through it. I'm going to switch off shadows here. Shadows slow it down. SketchUp produces accurate shadow studies, which is very useful again in a live presentation context. And it also includes a useful measurement tool, so we can take accurate measurements down to the fraction of an inch of any particular element of the scene as we require. So that's been a brief guide to the use of 3D computer models in live and recorded presentation. Use of illustrations, use of linear animation, use of interactive media such as Google Earth, and finally live presentation using programs such as Rhinoceros and SketchUp. I hope it's been of use and interest. Please let me know if you have any questions. Chris@studiocruz.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.